I don't expect them to show up tonight because the last 3 games that, where there was that real urgency, it's like, okay, they'll show up tonight. Their backs are against the wall. Get it done. They didn't. Game 6 and 7 against Denver last year when they blew the 3-1 lead. You think Denver comes back down 3-2. Now, okay, the Clippers will finish them off in Game 6. They don't want to let this thing get to 7, and they didn't show up. Game 7, okay, they've lost the last 2. They let Denver back in the series. They'll show up. They didn't. And Game 2 in this series, you're at home in danger of going down 0-2, and you don't show up. So what's to make them show up tonight in Dallas on the road with more than 15,000 fans there? And I've been to games in Dallas, and it is a great presentation that they have down there with the fans and everything they do. It's going to be a home court advantage. So if they didn't show up in Game 2, what's to make them show up in Game 3? Game 2 was just a dire.
Because they're some of the best basketball players in the world.
Okay, they still didn't fight over picks. All right, they still didn't fight over picks. They still didn't take away anything defensively. Luka had his way, and then the supporting cast had his way. You always got to take away something. We're going to let Luka get his and stop everyone else. We're going to stop everyone else and let Luka get, or stop Luka and let everybody else beat us. They did neither. And the problem, Brandon, is not offense. They got 41 from Kawhi. They got 28 and 12 boards from Paul George. They outscored the Mavericks from the foul line, in fast break points, in points off of turnovers, in points in the paint, and they still lost. I picked them in 7,
so here's the difference.
I'd love for them to rally.
Here's the difference.
But where's the evidence?
Luka's Luka. But do you expect Tim Hardaway, Porzingis, and everybody else, the others, the supporting cast, to be sensational again 3 games in a row? And then you look at the Clippers and Reggie Jackson, Marcus Morris, playoff Rondo, they didn't show up. Kawhi has been doing his part. Playoff P, that's no longer. Playoff P is actually a good thing right now because the dude's been efficient. He's been playing good basketball. And Chris, Nick, how do you go from being a top 5 offense and defense all year to now you're in the playoffs and now all of a sudden you can't guard? Come on, man. The problem is, or the challenge has been that everybody has been on fire in Dallas. So I expect the Clippers to come out and win tonight. And, Nick, I know you're a big bettor, all right? I don't know anything about that, the overs, the unders, and all that. But I don't know if there's a bookie on Fox Bet. If there is, please connect me with them because I'm taking the Clippers not only to win this game but to come back in the series and win the whole series. And what is it like? What are they giving? Like 10-1 or something?
Wait.
Sure you are.
Wait.
Of course you are.
You don't need Fox Bet. I've got you. I'm going to connect with you after the show. I will book that bet for the series for you. No problem. I'll give you a better price than you can get anywhere else.
What is it? Is it 10-1? What is it? Give it to me.
No, it's not 10-1. Right now, the Clippers are, I think, about 3-1 to win the series. I give you 3.2.
Give me 10-1, and I'll take the bet.
Later. I don't know if it's 10-1 is a little much, but a few things here. Brandon, you know why Tim Hardaway Jr. looks even better than Tim Hardaway Sr.? Because they're all practice shots. Because there is no defense. Because everybody looks amazing when they're wide open, except for, oddly enough, the Lakers shooters this series. But that's a separate story. Broussard, I don't think people fully understand the stakes for the Clippers in this series. Dan Wojcicki, who covers the team for the LA Times, said this yesterday jokingly to Zach Lowe. I'm going to say it totally seriously. If they lose this series, Broussard, they just got to move to Seattle. You got to start over. You got to see listen, nobody in LA cares about you. Ballmer's from there. Seattle needs a team anyway. You need to exorcise the demons of this franchise, and because this is shameful. Last year, I didn't believe in them, and I picked them to lose in round 2. This year, I did kind of believe in them. I didn't think they could give the Lakers trouble, but I'm like, the Mavs can't guard, and the Mavs have one superstar, but no other even all-star. They'll be able to beat the Mavs, and I obviously don't believe in the Jazz, because who believes in the Jazz? And I'm like, okay, they'll be able to get to the conference finals. Instead, they got embarrassed in back-to-back home games. And your point about the defense is the one that matters. Because some teams can't guard because they don't have the personnel. Some teams obviously have the personnel. The Clippers do. And when they can't guard, that is in your head, or you would say it's motivation. But how could you possibly be more motivated than game 2? You should be at peak motivation. Your season's on the line. And you let a 22-year-old child just toy with you. And so this is arguably the biggest game in Clippers franchise history. They've played in 4 Game 7s of conference semifinals. Only one of those years were they a real championship contender, the McAdoo team in like 75 or 76. So maybe it's the second biggest game to that. But if they go down 3-0, Broussard, the whole front office gets fired, and one of Kawhi or Paul George is not back next year. You can't run it back. You cannot, if you lose in round 1, is swept out in round 1, run it back. So I think it's as big of a game as most of these, as the franchise has had, certainly in modern history and maybe ever.
Well, look, a lot of people around the league, Nick, that I have talked to do think the front office, Lawrence Frank, the president, will be in trouble if they lose this series. Maybe. Look, he did the right things, right? Go get Kawhi. Okay, it's going to take me giving up all my draft picks to get Paul George to get Kawhi. Okay, that's 2 stars. And Luke Kennard, I get it. That was a bad move. But I can't kill the front office. They haven't built the culture that they need there. That's for darn sure. But it'll be interesting to see what type of fallout is there. As far as moving to Seattle, I'd love that if it wouldn't cost me Kawhi. That's the problem. If they move to Seattle, Kawhi is free to be like, okay, I came here to go to be in Southern California. Now I'm out of here, and they got to start all over. I agree with you on playoff P or Kawhi. Kawhi, I want to keep. Paul George, I'm offering him for Bradley Beal. I'm offering him for Dame Lillard. I'm looking around the league and seeing what I can get for playoff P once this series is over.
Well, can you help me out here before you dive into your take? Help me out here. Then why the heck did Chris and Nick pick the Clippers then? Why did they pick them? Just a week ago, they picked the Clippers to beat the Mavs. It just seems fickle to me.
We were fooled.
Well, I was trying to
throwing out the F word.
We were fooled. I like that one. Well, I just felt like Broussard, Brandon, was trying to he started sort of planting the seeds of Brandon's Clippers. Last year it was all Broussard's Clippers. So I just want to make sure people trying to sneak takes, big takes into the early other takes. Nick, you're our resident legacy guy. Kawhi's legacy. Yeah. We talked about most to gain. Wow, if he won a championship. 3 championships, maybe 3 finals MVPs, took 3 franchises there, although he's part of the, Spurs dynasty. What if he loses this one? Do we start rewriting the history books on Kawhi? It's the first one, that's Tim Duncan and that's Pop. The second was sort of rent a superstar. They were just sort of ready to go. And then he went to L.A. and nothing happened. So does he actually have the most to lose legacy-wise now, specifically tonight? Because if tonight's over.
Well, yeah, listen, here are the facts. The actual history of Kawhi Leonard goes something like this. Amazing development inside the Spurs system, going from a instantly phenomenal defensive player, turning himself through hard work and amazing determination, into an elite offensive player. Along the way, he got one of the most curious finals MVPs that has ever been given out in a series where 2 games of that series, he scored in single-digit points, and he got the Finals MVP because he was guarding LeBron, who in that series averaged 28 a game on 60% shooting. They're like, Kawhi shut him down. So it's like, okay, but hey, they had to give it to somebody. Then the next big moment for him. So wait, hold on. Let me back up a bit. Then it's the best organization in the NBA. He turns on him. Rightly or wrongly, he and Pop have a massive falling out with the organization, and he basically bails on an entire season when the Spurs kept saying he was ready. He lands in Toronto, has a remarkable second and third round of the playoffs, and then in the NBA Finals, the clearly superior team that was definitely going to win the title lost their best and their third best player to traumatic injuries, and they won the title. And then he goes to LA, talks a big old game without talking, and flames out in historic fashion. Is he an all-time great player? Absolutely. Should he have ever been in the discussion alongside Kevin Durant and Steph Curry? No. Alongside LeBron James? Give me a break. It was ludicrous and laughable when it was happening. And here's the other part, Broussard, for Kawhi legacy-wise, that to me, these 2 playoff years where it's taken a massive ding. You can no longer call him one of the best two-way players playing because he's not a two-way player anymore. He's an offense-only guy. He was in the playoffs last year. He's been a two-way player on one playoff run, the Raptors. With the Spurs, he was one-way defense, except for maybe the year Zaza hurt him. He was doing it on both ends. Remember that, 2017? He was really good on both ends for the Spurs, but then Zaza hurt him in game 1. And with the Raptors, he was good on both ends. With the Spurs, before that, though, he was defense only. And with the Clippers, he's been offense only. And that's not what you're supposed to be getting with Kawhi. You're supposed to be getting the best two-way wing in the league, and it's been nothing close to that in either playoff run with the Clippers.
And what you've seen is that when the pressure of expectations are there, Kawhi has struggled. In San Antonio, he was the 4th best player on that team, or the 4th guy, averaged 12 points a game that year. All right, there were no expectations for him, no pressure. In Toronto, it's your 1-year mercenary. Nobody's expecting anything, no pressure. Now you come to the Clippers, and everybody was expecting you guys to win the championship. People were saying you might be the best player in the world. You might be better than LeBron James. And that pressure that he invited with the commercials and all the things he did, that pressure that LeBron James has played his entire career with, has melted Kawhi Leonard with the Clippers. Now, the saving grace for him, he's only 29. So even if they go out in the first round, he's got a chance to rewrite this thing and redeem himself. But this is going to look bad this summer. It's going to look like he can't lead under the weight of expectations.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.